Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, fans from a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, Disney Star Wars has been, well, meh. To be very, very, very generous, ladies and gentlemen, under the Kathleen Kennedy tutelage over there with Disney Star Wars, things have not been going very well whatsoever. Obviously, the sequel trilogy gave us one of our greatest heroes out there turned into an absolute broken man, and color us shocked there. Kathleen Kennedy does that to everybody, just like I'm guessing some kind of issues she might have with her father. I'm not entirely sure, but she did the exact same thing to Indiana Jones in the Dial of Dysentery. And well, now, boys and girls, as we know that they have no creative talent left in their body whatsoever, they have no original ideas in any shape or form. They are once again ripping off more of the expanded universe stuff. Yes, the great actual canon of George Lucas and of Star Wars out there, because, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, color us shocked there that Marvel is announcing a backup story, whatever the hell that is, that apparently is a direct and complete and total ripoff of a story that already existed in the expanded universe under Dark Horse's comics. And boys and girls, they're literally basically essentially reprinting the exact same story. This shows you how much of a disastrous dumpster fire Disney Star Wars currently is, why it is considered a dead brand by many people out there, and is something that will never change truly for a lot of the fans out there unless they completely and totally retcon the sequel trilogy, which, as long as Disney holds on to this IP, I have no doubt that that will probably never happen, ladies and gentlemen. So once again, to show you how corrupt and bankrupt Star Wars is on any of its kind of actual new or bright ideas, we're going to show you this. I'm going to show you the new announcement that just came out, which, mind you, this is on the beginnings of D23 this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, where Disney announces all of its fancy stuff, and I'm sure this is part of it, and it's literally just another ripoff. So we're going to check out this, and we're also going to show you this wonderful Screen Rant article, because the irony of it alone is the fact that Screen Rant gives us exactly what they are ripping off in one of their articles from just a couple of years ago. So we're getting all the juicy details of this and show you exactly how ideally and any kind of original thought whatsoever in their head corrupt Disney Star Wars absolutely is. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are just sailed past 1,100. We are inching our way closer and closer to 1,200, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the thoughts down below if you ever let us know if you actually read some of these Star Wars Infinities comics where the story actually originally came from, or if you're one of those out there that now hearing about the original story, you're actually curious to go back and read some good Star Wars from back in the day before the dark times of Disney Star Wars and Kathleen Kennedy. So the announcement here from Screen Rant, and by the way, boys and girls, this is something we always do on our live streams. We do this Monday through Fridays, normally when we, at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time when we cut these videos. And I am just your humble common nerd. I am not an expert in any of this kind of stuff whatsoever. I never claim to be an expert. Sometimes I'm just a jack of all trades, master of none, but sometimes better than a master of one nerd. And in this case right here, I assumed with a story like this, it had to have been something that was already done. And shout out to my beautiful and wonderful chat out there who confirmed this, who read these comics back in the day and knew 100% right away that the story was nothing more than a ripoff. I'm smart enough to know that I don't know everything, and I'm smart enough to have people around me that are smarter than me about a lot of things. So shout out to my beautiful and amazing chat. So Marvel announced that has a backup story in Darth Vader number 50 will feature Princess Leia's shocking turn to the dark side. A cover by Derek Chu depicts Princess Leia sporting new armor to reflect her villainous turn. The issue officially goes on sale starting September 18th. Now, look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Not only does this literally look like a cheesy ripoff of Stormtrooper armor, that they literally just modeled it to have a slightly more feminine physique, which honestly, I'm kind of surprised they even did that with current modern Disney Star Wars here, because normally they try to make everybody look like they're boxes and have no kind of curves or any kind of difference between men and women in any shape or form. Now, obviously, this might not end up being the final cover, and who knows what the art will look like inside of the comic book. But not only is this a relatively not crazy story, and also why are they calling it a backup story and not just like an alternate universe story, or say, oh, I don't know, Star Wars Infinities, where they actually ripped the idea off of, because just a couple of years ago, before Screen Rant made this wonderful announcement proclaiming all of this stuff is going on with this new Disney Star Wars novel, they wrote an article back in December 12th, 2022. 10 wildest changes Star Wars Infinity's made to the original trilogy. Now, some of these sound really cool. They sound like a lot of fun grants. And my chat out there gave a lot of great ideas of a lot of different stories that are great. I want to go back and read these now. I'll definitely have to check out some of the back issues, try and get something off of eBay or something like that, because these sound like really fun stories, and I like this kind of stuff. I like the what ifs. I like that kind of thing. But literally, Disney Star Wars has no original ideas whatsoever. And even Screen Rant, who's the one who announced this new book and didn't even mention that this is a ripoff of an already published story by George Lucas's Star Wars, even though they wrote it in their own article. Because as you continue going down here, farther and farther into the article, we run across this right here. Leia becomes Darth Vader's apprentice in A New Hope. How does this happen? Well, following the capture of Princess Leia, she is kept at the former Jedi Temple, now Imperialist Palace on Coruscant. There, Darth Vader begins training her in the dark side of the Force. Angered by the loss of her allies, Leia becomes more susceptible to turning. And my understanding is that she even tries to actually remove herself from the Star Wars universe in this particular book, which that's how broken she is at that point from losing everything. So, of course, Darth Vader comes in there and just goes, ooh, I know how to take this. Oh, yes, you've lost everything. Well, loss leads to anger. And where does anger lead, boys and girls? Suffering and the dark side. So while training on Dagobah, Luke had a vision fight with Darth Vader, but upon decapitating the illusion, he's horrified to see Leia's face under the mask, symbolizing her descent into the dark side. The Infinite Comics use very clever imagery, often making nods to important moments of the film. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, does that sound anywhere at all familiar to anyone? Because now they're having a brand new backup story that's going to have Princess Leia become Darth Vader's apprentice now. And what do you want to bet? She's going to be the bestest ever. She's going to be a better dark side user than even her father. Because wham and power over there at Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger's Disney Star Wars, ladies and gentlemen, where they literally do not have a single original idea in their own head. And even the shills over at Screen Rant leave it alone to not even point this out. Now, given this article was several years ago, we know how the media landscape's changed with a lot of these access media legacy corporations out there. We've seen them go through massive amount of layoffs and changes over and over again. So who knows? There might not even be any left at Screen Rant at this point that remembers an article from just 2 years ago, showing us beyond a shadow of a doubt that Disney Star Wars in the modern era is nothing more than a really bad word facsimile of much greater and better stories that came before. They're fakes, they're ripoffs, and this is why Disney Star Wars fails. Because they are taking stories, they are taking aspects of stories that were made by much greater people than them. Because as our dear sweet J.R.R. Tolkien told us so very long ago, evil cannot create. It can only corrupt what is already there. And that's exactly what Disney Star Wars has done. They have corrupted the beautiful, wonderful, former mint money printing machine that was George Lucas's Star Wars and turned it into an absolute abysmal facsimile, some may say orcish, version of what our great Star Wars once was. But ladies and gentlemen, do not take heart. Do not take this to heart. Do not dishearten. Do not be upset, because much like I have not gone back and read all of these Infinity comics, I'm sure there are decades worth of good quality Star Wars content out there that you can find and purchase. And go do that. Because why bother reading Disney Star Wars? It's just a ripoff of all the better stuff you can go out there and read right now. So go ahead, Disney Star Wars, continue ripping off much better people than you, because just like every other facsimile has failed out there in the world, your abomination will as well. And guess what, Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy and Dave Filoni? You did it to yourselves, and you'll get exactly what you deserve. Burn, Disney Star Wars, burn.